Good morning, pregame crew. It is Tuesday, February 1st, 8:22 a.m. Eastern, 6:22 a.m. Mountain Time. I'm Charkow Lori. You are at the pregame show. How are you doing today? Audio visual check, please. Hi, Topher, Greg, Serge, Mal, Raj, Lisa, Donna. Oh, Lisa, I owe you an answer on NVIDIA, but I think Dan answered it in beginner questions. But sorry about that. I had a wild weekend. Hey, Pete Town, Dono, Amira Asia, Blue Dog, Night Truck, Fat N, John. I appreciate you. Hey, Roger. Thanks, Lisa. Hey, Tammy, Jorge, Keggers. Roger, thanks so much. Hey, Dustin. Perfect. I'm glad y'all are here. We will get started in a bit. I like to answer you early birds. I like to answer your questions first. If you have any charts you'd like for me to take a peek at before we get started with indices, I can do that. And also, if you could drop a comment in the live chat, any at-home remedies you may have for COVID, I'd appreciate it. Any tips, tricks to getting better faster, I would love to hear it. Hi, Long Island guy. Good morning from Idaho, all the way out to North Carolina. Hi, Colby. Thanks, Lisa. I appreciate it. Hey, Joe, you're in Boston. Is it snowing? Hey, Sid, Tamaz, Philip. Good morning. Let me look at it, Lisa. Remember, AMD has earnings. Wait, let me confirm that. AMD has earnings today after hours. Yes. So when you click on the E on TradingView, it will show you the date of the earnings report, and then the moon shows that it's after market close. So just a little tip. So today after market close, AMD will have earnings, and it could, not necessarily, but it could impact NVIDIA. So 212.96 is your daily support. If a more conservative support would be yesterday's low at 230.52. Hi, Adam and Joe. Ginger tea. All right, I'll take it. Hey, Mary. Dustin, Amazon. All right. So I put in my notes today, I wanted to be sure that I talked about earnings. I do not trade any name during its earnings week unless I'm trading commons. It's just really tough. The IV is sky high and I don't deal with it. So just know that, like, I'm not going to touch Amazon this week until after earnings. So hourly RSI is overbought. 4 hour is not. So the 4 hour still has some runway. Don't forget this resistance over here, this prior support 312609 that could serve as resistance. And did we get any support levels yesterday? On the 15-minute, 2957 and 2952. We're going to have lots of opportunities for trades in both directions today. Just stay relaxed and stay calm. No chasing, no FOMO, only JOMO here. You're welcome, Dustin. Okay, LCLN, Joe, is that what you're asking? No, I don't know what you're asking, LCLN. I know what Tammy's asking, shop. Shop looks beautiful. Nice bounce yesterday with a daily trend change. So we had this lower low, slight lower high, higher low, and trend change. Congrats, shop bulls. Again, like most levels, we got a little tiny level yesterday right before close. We had a tiny little dip, so we got a support at 943, then 940.43. Your resistance after the high of yesterday and high of pre-market will be 1,000 psychological, then 1023.95. Hourly RSI is overbought. 4 hour is not. All right. Oh, good, Brandon. I'm glad you enjoyed the open house. Dan's the man. Now, let me tell you. Qualcomm, let's look at it, Philip. Decent chart. Let's see. Earnings tomorrow after hours, Philip. So we got, I'm going to call this a double bottom. Even though we broke bear by $1, I'm going to call it a double bottom and a daily trend change. Now we need that higher low. We have plenty of room for that higher low. Support, small support established yesterday, 17272, then 17140. And you are going to see a theme with me today. It's going to be the same thing over and over and over. When the whole market moves in one direction, and for the most part it moved in one direction, the setup is pretty clear across many names. So we have that tiny support established on a ton of names right before close yesterday, and that will be your first level. You're going to want to see bulls hold on any pullback. Okay, you want to look at Stone, and then we'll get started. In the pregame show format is I go over indices, commodities, crypto, and movers and shakers of the day. And I try to answer your questions the best I can. Toward the end, we have awesome mods in the room. Typically, I don't see anybody this morning yet, but they typically will. Watching Bob Ross, that's funny. So we have mods that help answer the question, any questions you may have. Let's look at Stone. Stone is a Buffett name, right? No daily trend change yet. Double top right now at 1582, 1570. So automatically separate your list. So you're going to want to separate your list. So your list, I'm trying to get some black space here. You're going to separate your list. Which one had a daily trend change and which one was unable, no daily trend change. And you divide and bifurcate your list into two lists. And whichever one got over daily resistance is obviously stronger than the other one that you're looking at. So Stone is not as strong as some of the other names we saw. A decent bounce, 6%, but could not get over 1582. Support 1512. Thanks, Mal. I appreciate it. Oh, there's my MG. He's always here. CM, sure. Hey, George. Okay, we got a little bit of a weekly bull flag and an inside bar. You have a daily EQ support 12289, 12281, resistance 12913. Slightly weaker than some of the other names we've been looking at. You see, yesterday we could not get over. We're going to call this FOMC high. We couldn't get over it. So it's in that category of the names that couldn't break daily resistance. Thanks, Flash Gordon. I appreciate it. I really appreciate the words of encouragement and the help. One more, and then we will get started. Spot had a great day yesterday. It's actually on my list of back burner watch. It had some type of news, upgrade, downgrade. I know that's super helpful, right? Let me go back and look. And what I'm doing is I'm just scanning the news real quick to see. When y'all are trading these names, I just want you to have all the information. Don't see it. Don't see it. Don't see it. Okay, well. Yeah, if you could hit the like button, I'd greatly appreciate it. So Spot had a beautiful bounce, but there's no trend change because we were down pretty good. So a lot of names got that lower high on FOMC, pull back higher low, and then higher high. Spot is not in that category. We now have a gap below, but beautiful bounce, has enough room now for a higher low compared to 164.41. They have earnings tomorrow after hours to be aware of. 4-hour RSI is not overbought. We're running into the underside of that 4-hour 50 MA. Hourly is overbought. So these names, this is what I'm doing today with names like Spot. Spot had a great move yesterday. So what I want is I want to do a back burner trade. So tell me when the first 5 minute is oversold. That doesn't mean I'm going to trade it. I'm just going to go look at the chart when I get the alert. So lots of back burner setups. All right, let's get started. Well, first of all, thank you for being here. I don't say thank you enough. Thank you. I'm Chart Gal Lori. I'm part of the Chart Guys community, and we teach technical analysis. This is me. This is chartguys.com. You can follow me on Twitter at ChartGalLori. And what I do is I go over the indices, commodities, cryptos, movers and shakers of the day. And my goal is to get you ready for the day. Am I going to give you perfect trade setups? Maybe, sometimes, not all the time. We're going to just do the more highly probable setups, and we're just going to go through the charts one at a time, and I'm going to try to give you levels so you can make sure you're marking up your chart as well. So if you're interested in my chart setup, it's on the screen now. I'm going to delete it to save real estate. We have plenty of room on this 4-hour RSI. I put the arrow there. Sometimes I don't comment on all the technical components. It's a lot that you're looking at on one chart, but I wanted to be sure to call out that we have room on the 4 hour to keep going up. So I know the tendency is let's short it. We're extended. So more buying begets more buying, and it becomes a bit of a short squeeze. And that's what happened yesterday. The people that missed that bounce on Friday, they're like, we're going in. So I'm not saying that we're going to continue to melt up. I'm just saying we have the runway to do it. Don't forget prior supports could serve as resistance, and we hit it to the tick overnight, 451450 resistance, and then your next resistance above that, 4594. So support 4482 and 4478. So let me kind of scroll in here a little bit so you could see what I'm looking at. What I'm looking at is potential head and shoulders on ES, RTY, and YM. Doesn't mean it's going to form, and we know these faux head and shoulders, we know what they do to us. They can be a bull flag on a higher time frame, and we get snookered into shorting something with a potential head and shoulders, and then it just ends up being a bear break with very little follow through because we got a bull flag on a higher time frame. Now say that fast 20 times. So let me get back on let me get to my notes. Let's stay organized here. So ES, RTY, YM, potential hourly head and shoulders. Beware. Potential bull flag on higher time frame. VIX has a potential hourly bear flag. We'll take a look at that. Don't forget about these big earnings trades, and which means I don't trade these. I don't even pull up Amazon. I don't even pull it up during earnings week with the sky high IV. I don't want to have to deal with that, so I don't trade them unless I trade commons. The US 10-year is still in a 4-hour downtrend, and that's good for NASDAQ. XLF, just making a note, no daily trend change on XLF. Lots of back burner setups from strong moves yesterday. Like these are just the top 4 that I was making note of yesterday. NIO, and they had some production numbers. They increased their production 33% year over year for this quarter or something like that. ARC, Netflix, and Spot, any of those names that had those 10% bounces or more, when they pull back, we can have this back burner setup we can look out for. Now, if the market's pulling back hard, the back burner setup won't be ideal. If the market is consolidating sideways, these back burner setups should be ideal. We have some 4-hour inverse head and shoulders forming on SMH and XBI. SMH will be impacted or could be impacted by AMD earnings after hours, so please be aware of that. All right, let's go get our levels. Support 4478, 4395. If you're like, she's talking too fast, I don't know what she's doing, hit the pause button, rewind, and also these light gray numbers over here, they correspond with my horizontal rays or lines. So if you don't hear me speak or I rattle over it too fast, you can go check this out. So support 4478, then 4395. NASDAQ is super strong at the moment, and it's overbought on the hourly, but not on the 4-hour. We pulled back hard last week. So that leaves lots of runway for these bulls to have fun with this little short squeeze. Resistance 1499375, prior support acting as resistance. And then on the hourly, you have a support here at 14818. This one wasn't as clear to me as far as a potential hourly head and shoulders. It's there, but this just looks a little bit stronger than the other 4. Yeah, hit the like button, why don't ya? Hey, Wave. Oh, that's so sweet, Camo. You're my favorite morning show. I'm sorry, it's a Kid Craddock joke. So on the US 10-year, we are still in a downtrend. And we got that higher high yesterday, and then we promptly rolled over, which is good for NASDAQ bulls. NASDAQ bulls want to see this US 10-year continue to melt down. RTY. RTY has that potential head and shoulders. Again, it could be a faux head and shoulders with a bull flag on a higher time frame. Slight bearish divergence. I don't get too wrapped up into bearish divergence or bullish divergence because all it is it's cooling off price sideways, which that's good for the bulls so they can have more runway. So 2049. So RTY has not gotten through the high of the FOMC reaction like all of the other indices have. So XLF hasn't, and IWM/RTY has not. So let me give you your levels. 2030 is your resistance and 2049. You have support at 2012 and 2006. I'm going to take a sip of water. The gray lines are just from this horizontal ray right here. Whoever asked that, Scott. Right here, I'm just using this horizontal ray so I can mark these levels so you can see them over here. Okay, YM, resistance 35099. Let's call that 35,100. Support 34848 and 34833. The VIX continues to melt down. Woohoo! Bulls want to see these continued, let me get rid of this Michigas. Bulls want to see this continued meltdown of VIX, market bulls that is. Your next support is down at 2168. So last week we got, or that wasn't last week, that was November 29th. I guess it was last week, sorry. Last week we got that weekly higher high over that November high, and we changed the weekly trend, but we've seen VIX do this over and over and over and just melt straight down. So I'm not saying it's going to melt straight down, but it's looking super weak at the moment. All right. Bitcoin. I looked at this earlier, but I missed this. This is a potential bearish diamond reversal pattern. So last week, the last couple of weeks, we've been really watching Bitcoin to get clues about the market because Bitcoin has led us to the downside and back to the upside, given some really cool clues if you're into correlations and that kind of thing. And this is a classic diamond bearish reversal pattern right here on the hourly. Resistance 39104, support 38021, and then down at 36810. 4-hour inside bar, and we have a squeeze here on Bitcoin, and that just shows the compression that's building in this sideways snaky action. Ethereum looks stronger. I would say that we are negating this diamond bearish reversal pattern on Ethereum. We're negating it, so maybe the Bitcoin bulls will be in luck. 2800 is your resistance, and then support 2720. Gold. Okay. So on gold, this still could be a daily bear flag. Let's get our measurement so we know what we're looking at. As long as price stays below 1808, we could have a bear flag on the daily for gold. Resistance 1809.70, then 1816, support 1796 and 1785. I was looking at Dixie earlier. So the dollar's really coming down hard. Hourly is oversold. 4-hour is not. When the dollar bounces, if the dollar bounces, we would just be looking for lower highs on lots of time frames, and that would help gold possibly negate this bear flag. EA had earnings. So EA and Take-Two got impacted yesterday with somebody buying out Bungie Gaming, I forget who, and it helped EA get a little spike and Take-Two get a little spike. So that's what happened yesterday on this big spike up. It was a sympathy move upward on that buyout of 3.6 billion or something like that of a gaming company. We typically want to see a head and shoulders at the top of an uptrend. I wouldn't say this is very neat at all. This is very disorganized. And we have earnings like Wave mentioned. Okay, getting back to oil. Oil 4-hour lower high has put in. Hourly lower high put in now. Support 87.03, 86.34. Resistance 88.34, then 88.55. I am scouting an oil short. We have API estimates today after hours at 4:30. We have inventory tomorrow at 10:30. Things to be aware of that can impact oil price. But I am looking short oil. Nat gas just broke the support of 4695. Your next support 4587. Resistance 4875 and 4974. We have an hourly downtrend on nat gas. All right, let's look at some movers and shakers. Oh, Sony. Sony was the one that bought them out. That's right. All right. Apple. So Apple has a clear level. You could see it from Mars, 17718. This is our general. This is our big boss man. They killed on earnings. What I would like to see is we've got the structure now for inverse head and shoulders on Apple. So we would need to hold 168.17 area for some symmetry for this right side, but we could have the beginnings or the early makings of an inverse head and shoulders on the daily. So if we go step in front of this bull train, yes, you're picking on the biggest bully in the market. However, we have a clear level to short, 176.62 and 177.18. I'm going to say, tell me when price gets near 176.50, and I will not blindly jump in and short it. I would wait for price to pause and the market to take a break. Otherwise, there's no need for me to go get in front of this train. Dkng, I like this short. So on the daily, we were unable to change the trend yesterday like so many other names were able to do. Dkng was not one of them. So shorting 22.82, give it like a nickel room, maybe 22.90 as your stop. I like this for a top fish. Dkng only if the market decides to consolidate. Not up here with market strength right now. No way, Jose. We need things to sit down a little bit and get at least some 2 to 5 minute trend changes to the downside. Pen's the same thing. Penn, I believe, had a downgrade. Please confirm that. But they were unable to get through the FOMC high. So then 46.27, 46.56 becomes that daily resistance. So I'm looking to top fish a lower high against 46.56. Doesn't mean we'll get it. Doesn't mean we'll get it. They have earnings February 3rd. JPM. JPM was one of the few names that didn't get a higher high on the names I was looking at, like GS, higher high. Did I look at this one? Bank of America did not get a higher high. WFC didn't. So JPM was just one of those laggards that I thought had a pretty clear level for a potential top fish. Top fishing this, sorry, you can't see it, 150.57. 150.57 top fish on JPM. Support established right near the end of day, 147.45. Thank you, Ra. I appreciate it. Yeah, hit the like button, why don't ya? Okay, LAZR, they had a downgrade this morning, and they are right there sitting up. They broke it. Never mind. I want to see it break during regular trading hours, but I was looking at a top fish against 14.75 on LAZR, but we're breaking bull, so that's off the table. So do you see what I was doing and why I was looking at it? I was looking at a top fish. I'm looking for those laggard plays that were unable to get through FOMC high, and this one happened to have a downgrade as well, but it's moving in pre-market, so that trade is busted. MARA. This was one of my better trades last week in trade setups. This 1943 double bottom was a beaut. So I would like a top fish of 24.22, and we're already through that level. These market bulls, I guess this is what happens when you get up too early. But we still may pull back before the regular trading hours, and then you could top fish this pre-market high at 24.50. But only if Bitcoin's pulling back and the market's pulling back. So I want to dip buy this again. I like it short here, and I like it long in here. REGN. I was looking for some real tightening ranges. It's forming its second weekly inside bar, and it finished yesterday with a daily inside bar. Super tight name. Squeeze. Look at that squeeze, y'all. Look at it. So support 602.51. I like a bottom fish of this level if we can hold 602.51. Hey, Alex, thanks. I appreciate it. SMH. Dan called this out in yesterday's aftermarket video, and he's looking for a potential inverse head and shoulders. Remember that AMD earnings after hours can impact this setup, but would love, love, love a dip buy around 262. I don't think I'm going to get it, but we will see. I would love to swing SOXL, dip buying any pullback here on SMH, looking for this inverse head and shoulders on the 4-hour. Tesla got bonked this morning. They got a downgrade yesterday, and they're recalling, I forget, 53,000 cars for crash issues. So to me, this is a clear top fish area, 947, 949.38. I would just call it 950. Top fish of 950. Tesla bulls were super strong yesterday, so I don't know how much this bad news is going to impact them. And this downgrade, I say in quotation marks, a downgrade to 950 when you're below 950 is not in fact a downgrade, but I guess technically it is. So I like Tesla to the short side if the market were to start consolidating. XBI, same thing. We're looking for a potential inverse head and shoulders here. If we can not break 9562 and pull back and hold 8530 area, which that's pretty far down there. I don't know that we would make it back that far, but I am looking for an inverse head and shoulders setup on XBI as well. What tickers do you want to look at? You're welcome, Richard. Thank you. I appreciate it. Affirm. Let's look at Affirm. Affirm had a massive buy block yesterday at 59.72. How do I remember that? I don't know. I have a lot of clutter in my brain. Let's be real. Okay. It did not close near the high of day like some of the other names did, so that's an interesting pullback. This may be a top fish of 67.59. CNBC was pumping it yesterday, but maybe a top fish of 67.59. Yep, Tesla had a downgrade. MNMD and MNMD is looking for that daily higher high over 132. We have to hold 90 cents and then get over 132. And it may take a few days to do it. We may have to, will you say take a run and start? You know, it may need a run and start to go get this done. Lower high, higher low, lower high, higher low. This is how it could look like, or it could zoom right through 132. I'm just saying the size of this range. Yeah, a 40% range, an EQ is most likely. Resistance $1.16, support $1.09. XLE, let's look at it. I liked that top fish yesterday and it worked, and I still like the top fish today. Again, 66.34, especially with oil hitting hourly lower highs. So top fish against 66.34. Here's the fly in the ointment today. XOM killed earnings. Exxon did. They announced a $10 billion buyback. So I can't with good conscience tell y'all to buy it up here at 52-week highs. That's why it didn't make my list today, but it was quite a beat. So this may propel XLE forward and negate any type of XLE weakness. I wanted to show y'all one more thing. Oh, y'all are asking me a lot. Okay, so XBI. So I was looking at XBI saying, you know, what's the probability we're going to get that 4-hour inverse head and shoulders? And I was like, okay, what is, this is on ETF DB. Actually, it's ETF.com, sorry. What are the top 10 holdings of XBI? And they're not large percentages. You see that? The top 10 represent about 11% of XBI. Let's go look at what's in XBI. You want to do that? So we're analyzing our charts. We can go look at these top 10 holdings. Look at ARNA. I don't know if this is a buyout or what. This is unbelievable. So that's the number one holding in XBI. Look at that bullishness. BCRX. Daily EQ. So XBI bulls will want this to reject here, get a lower high and tighten up a little bit. BHVN has a top fish approaching at 136.13. ALKS. This has been a terrible name. It dropped pretty hard, but it's bouncing decently. EBS, this is not an outperformer. That's an okay chart. It has a nice squeeze. VRTX, look at this bullishness. EXEL. We're looking for a possible lower high compared to 1861. ABBV, this is one of the prettiest charts out there. This thing is gorgeous, and this is in the top 10 holdings of XBI. IONS had a slightly green day, but I was just looking at these top 10 saying, The one that was up the most was only up 4%, yet XBI was up 5% yesterday. So it was really perplexing. I was trying to figure out, is this a nice top fish area for XBI? And I don't know that I shed any light on that for you, but I thought it was interesting to go dig in the top 10 holdings and not see that relative strength that we saw in XBI. Lucid. I love when y'all start yelling at me in all caps. It's so much fun. All right. LCID. Could be an hourly rising wedge. If you're in long, I would just keep moving up my stops. Next resistance is 30.88, then up at 34.22, support 29.32 and $29. OMI. It's holding the weekly EMAs. On the daily, we're below the EMAs and it could be a bear flag, so careful. Really flat red day actually in a sea of green, so that doesn't bode well for the OMI bulls. Oh, OMI tether. Okay, let's do it. Okay, you got an EQ. So you have weekly inside bars. So last week's resistance 808.0 and then support 5846. Then on the daily, you could see this EQ that we're forming. We have enough room for a higher low compared to 5846. And then it seems as though we're just going to continue to tighten in this large range. Okay. Go Tigers. That's right. Skills to pay the bills. Tightening range. Resistance 492, $5. Support 474, 462. I don't like this chart. Nice bounce, beautiful bounce, but this could be a daily bear flag. DKS, okay, let's do it. We're stuck inside last week's range. Of course, only one day of trading, but last week's range was pretty wide. Got a pretty clear channel here, my goodness. At least on the top. Maybe not as clear on the bottom. I would look for a lower high compared to 120.56 and looks like we could tighten up a little bit more. Okay, Luna. Okay, on Luna, we're looking for a weekly higher low compared to 37.82. And that, you could argue this little wick, that wasn't a pivot, so I'm not going to call that a higher low. I'm going to call this, that last higher low, 37.82. On the hourly, we just got a downtrend, and this could be a bear flag. Resistance 53.77, then 54.20, support 50.89 and 50.28. On the volume list charts, huh? Upstart, this looks good. Potential weekly bear flag. We did get through that FOMC high, and we changed the trend. Support 87.03, resistance 117.76. Keep moving your stops up if you're in long, and be careful, hourly's overbought, 4 hour approaching overbought. Bears will be waiting right there. Hey y'all, all right, you know what? That's it for me. Thank you for joining me. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notify button, just hit a button. And TCGers, I will see you in the room, and I will be live midday, and you get to hear this sick voice again. I appreciate y'all being here.